Welcome back. Welcome back, honey child, ladies and gents. It is the DMV Rib Doctor, located right here in Bowie, Maryland. Welcome back, everyone. And I know last week, honey dolls and gents, we had a fabulous demonstration. Honey, we were talking about hair loss and stress and how they're so much related. We also were given a lot of different tips. All right, and I did say that this week I was going to follow up and give you a little bit more tips. Now, this is only going to be a small portion of this broadcast, and then we're going to go right in on going glueless, okay? Because we have been getting a high request of people. They have been, child, y'all been watching them daggone YouTube videos, okay? Baby, and now they got everybody thinking that they can get a glueless wig without it falling off their head, okay? All right, and the weed doctor is just going to give you a little bit more thorough education on that because not all of the units that are available online are always going to be able to be, um, returned into a alopecia unit, especially if you have severe hair loss. All right, but just a quick follow up from the previous broadcast that we talked about. We were talking about, how from alopecia areata and also diffusive alopecia. Those different forms of alopecia are caused by stress. Okay, and so for all those, just look back at our other lives. It's just letting you know that a lot of times in these situations, once the stress starts to build up in the body, it's considered a type of external stressor. So when this happens, and if it goes on through a prolonged period, or if it's just a very drastic period, so like for example, giving birth, all right, getting a surgery. Sometimes people experience hair loss during those different things. Okay, then your hair can go into these different cycles where you're losing hair. All right, and we're just going to tell you some tips now with alopecia areata. It's not necessarily like the other one without the stress, like the diffusive alopecia, like if you have a medical condition or if you're taking some type of prescription drug that is putting additional stress on the body that's causing the hair loss. So pretty much once that stress goes away, pretty much about 3 to 6 months, it should be growing back. Okay. And so if that's not the case, then you might be dealing with a prolonged stress, and you need to do some of the things that the weed doctor talked about, probably therapy, other things like that, incorporating some type of stress management in your life and doing some lifestyle changes. Okay, in the other videos, and also with alopecia areata, if now this one can be triggered by stress as well. If you do not maintain this, it can spread to other parts of the body. Okay, so that's very very important. And once this happens, it's very very hard for the hair to regrow again. So, some different things in helping to reduce stress are singing, meditation, gargling, and exercise, prayer, and meditation. And these are not just things picked out of the weed doctor. They're not just picked this out of a hat. These are live, true studies. Okay, studies that have been performed. It stimulates the vagus nerve, the vagal tone. The vagus nerve is responsible for all different types of things going on in your body. The parasympathetic system, your relax and digesting and resting. So all of these things, so that's why these things are good. If you're having problems going to sleep, you're a nervous eater, you feel like every time you eat, your food is not settled. You definitely want to look into some of these things, especially if you think that you're stressed or that your alopecia could be caused by for stress. And for all those who are located in the Bowie, Maryland area, or if you want to get a hair tissue mineral analysis, make sure to follow these links below. All right, in the chat box, we're going to be able to help guide you through the process, with your alopecia and finding you the perfect program for your particular form of hair loss. All right, so today, oh, child, the weed like the nose is stuffed up. Okay, child, let's get through this live. So we have been seeing an influx of people who have been trying to, child, everybody named mama trying to get a glueless wig without a lapretia. Okay. And it can be done. However, we're going to give some tips on how to do it because, that's why a lot of people were coming to us because they were saying that the wigs just falling off the head. They, most of the wigs that are purchased online are made from medium to large head sizes. So if you have a smaller head, you may or may not be able to do that, with just a regular stock wigs. Now, a lot of the providers, they're adding the different wig strap band at the top and the bottom of the, and those are pretty very helpful. Those can actually be pretty helpful. The only thing is that with that method, it may not lie as flat as you want it, and you may have some bulges. So, if you're going to be someone who wants a specific, clean, overall, flesh to the scalp fit, you probably going to have to resort to getting a full lace unit or full lace hair prosthesis. You can purchase this from us if you're interested, or you would need to get a medical unit created if you're looking for the most flattest results. Because with these stock wigs, and that is the difference from some of the fashion wigs. I call it the fashion wigs. Sometimes they're stock units. Sometimes, depending on who you purchase your unit from, even if you go to some of these different Asian sites, popular sites that they have out there, those are not specified for your head, okay? And especially if you're dealing with alopecia and you're trying to put that unit on, girl, you don't want to be like the people on Instagram. The window blue, and next thing your head is all the way across the street, okay? So, that's just something to look into. If you're going to wear a unit and if you're going to do it on and off, it's best to get the more exact custom fits. And there's different ways of doing that. They have different stylists. They use the dome cap. That works for a lot of clients. Now, we do occasionally, may get clients, they want something more fitted than just the traditional dome cap. They almost wanted to fit like a suction glove, or they wanted to be extremely, extremely tight. And in those instances, I would say it might be best for you when you're purchasing your units to tell them that you want to have a wig base that has a lot of structure to it, because typically the dome caps, they may or may not be able to offer all of that for you necessarily. Okay, so they have, there's other caps, wig caps, some of the stock wig caps, and if you get one that's custom made for you, sometimes those can give you a little bit more, it actually grips the head a little bit stronger than just you doing the regular dome caps. Now, for some people, we have a lot of clients who wear the dome caps and don't have a problem. I really say at this point, I would say for most people, they're okay with the dome caps. However, for some people who want, I find the most suction, child, they want that thing to fit like a glove. Okay. Child, it's like you want a custom made, you know, and now we can do that. I've done it too, by hand and with the sewing machine with that method as well. So those work pretty good. But in still some cases, I've seen where for sometimes the most secure glove-like fits, it's best to get the stylist to create a head mold for you and have them send it off. Now, and I'm the way doctor going to be honest with you, those units or those hair systems, when we send them off, they take about 12 to 16 weeks on average for the delivery time. Okay. And the same thing for our locks, for our different type of lock hair systems. That is another different type of pretty much we're using like a lace, a full mesh lace. Now, and we like to got so much to talk about. So I'm going to try to follow what I've already put down. So purchasing a custom fitted unit or wig when you're trying to go glueless, because we've already stated the ones that are just purchased off a line at probably under $300 to $400, those may or may not give you the type of flatness that you're looking for. That's why some people, they complain when they order different units online. They may say that it's and now, and even in some cases, if you shave all your hair off, even if you get some of the units that still have measurements, you still may deal with a little bit of gaping if we decide to put a band on your head. So it really just depends on you and how you want your unit to fit. If you want it to fit like a glove, baby, then it's best that you get the options where they're sending off the unit. And now that is a real, true cranial prosthesis or a medical unit. And some of those units, child, the We Doctor, we are relaunching those now because a lot of African American women now are trying to get that service as well. Now, those are the more pricier units. These are not your regular run of the mill units. It's not the hair that you're purchasing for some of the Love Me different brands and other different type of units here. These different other more affordable, fashionable units that typically only going to last about 2 to 3 months. And then the hair is not able to curl that well. You're not able to do the dyeing on it. So you have to invest into the hair systems. And we also accept a firm. Honey, with a firm, you can pay that daggone hair system off between 1 to 2 years. We're also looking to get Afterpay on the website as well. Okay. And so, baby, you could be paying maybe $100 a month or less, depending on how much the unit costs and how long you break up the installments. So that is the best thing now with these hair sets, because it's a lot of people. They want to find out. Sometimes y'all be trying to crack the code. Y'all are not hair loss specialists. Trying to do the weave doctor's job. Okay. So, with these units, it's different categories to wigs. So pretty much the ones that are available, the basic ones, the low grade ones like on Amazon, those are not the same units typically that you're buying at a hair salon. And if you are, they're typically going to be under $200 to $300 in most cases. Okay. And those are pretty much what I call the fashion or the stock units. Those can come in a 5x5. They can come in HD lace. And that's another, a misconception that just because you buy thin lace, that means that you have a good wig or a hair loss system. That is not necessarily the truth. Okay. And in actuality, a lot of times the thinner the lace, the more that it could possibly shed, especially if you're going to be wearing a lot of adhesive. And if you are a rough rider, okay. We got some rough riders out here. How many of y'all remember that song back in the day? Rough Riders, okay. Some of y'all are some rough riders when y'all wearing these hair pieces and hair systems. Y'all be combing them. Y'all be wetting it. And that's something when you buy these more expensive pieces or just a regular lace front, especially if it's HD, you cannot be wetting it in the shower. Okay, number one, you cannot be putting all these excess sprays and mousses right at the root. You cannot be sleeping on the wet hair. Okay, it's just all these things. That's why I try to encourage clients to come back to your hair loss specialist. Like that's why we do the maintenance required on these units, because a lot of people are just buying things that they find online and then they are unsure how to take care of them. Then sometimes they blaming the hair company when in actuality it's just that you need to make probably more frequent visits or follow the directions, the aftercare take home. And that's why I'll tell everyone also too, the curly hair units are going to require more maintenance. If you are somebody, child, if you're lazy, okay, and you're trying to do a wake, shake, and a bake, do not purchase the curly hair. Because baby, a time is going to be, hey, their hair is going to rat up like a cat's nest. Okay? The weed doctor is trying to educate you guys. Now, sometimes, in some cases, I would say if you're going to take it on and off, maybe that might help you some, because at least you can put that bad boy on a mannequin, wet it down, saturate it, get your leave-in conditioner, and go in actual sections. But if you're not doing that, that hair can start to mat severely. Okay, so that's just something to look into. Maybe opt for a more slimmer, a more lighter wave pattern. So something that is not very dense. And also, if you're going to be doing the removal process on your own without a hairstylist, you might even consider doing a 5x5 frontal. Okay, or they have now but the 5x5, 7x7 type of frontals instead of the complete 13x4 lace, because that can be a lot for people, especially if you're new to this and if you're trying to do everything on your own. Now, thank goodness with some of the different medical hair systems that we can offer now, they have special tabs on them. Child, we're going to be showing you guys in a little bit, okay? So, those have special tabs. And it's a lot of people trying to find out why some of the wigs, they be thinking that the weed doctor and other hair loss specialists is trying to rip somebody off. Okay, child, we got better things to do. Okay. So pretty much with the hair systems and the different type of dome cap wigs, that's a very popular one. The more expensive ones, a lot of people wonder, what the heck, why is it so expensive? It's because of the quality of the hair. And we've done so many broadcasts on this. When you buying that cheap stuff, girl, you probably got some animals in there. Child, they done got that hair up out of the daggone senior citizen, the senior citizen center, okay, out of the nursing home somewhere on the floor up in the hospital. And that's no cap. It's all real life facts, okay? So, and that's up to you guys. It depends on what you want to put on your skin and hair, what you want to be breathing in. Those hairs that are more cheaper, they are very, very processed. So you're going to be breathing in all of those things. It's going to be absorbing, because this hair is just like real hair, girl. It get in your skin and everything else, especially as you sweat. So these are just some things to look into, with us, a lot of our dome cap units or more higher quality units start around like $700 and up. And we have different packages with the installs as well. So it's like a combination. So actually you can save some money. Okay. And with those hairs, those are going to last you more than just those regular units that you're purchasing for some of those different suppliers, maybe Asian suppliers that are popular, that are very low cost. Number one, the strands are going to be thicker. You're going to be able to curl it better. You can be able to dye it. It's going to last you longer. And in the long run, you will save more money purchasing you a better high quality unit, as opposed to getting those little ones that's on Amazon or from the ones that only last about 2 months. Okay. So, child, don't be buying no new wig every 2 to 3 months or every 2 months when you can have one that's lasting 7 months, 10 months, a year and a half, or longer. All right. So that is how some of the pricing. It's not a lot of people. They were like, okay, well, it still gives in the front, and we've just been trying to educate you guys. Just because them edges is looking laid, that does not mean that that is a high quality wig and that is going to last you. Okay. Do not let the lace fool you. Do not let the bleaching techniques of the hairstylist fool you. Okay. Especially if it's with a lower quality hair, the hair possibly can shed more. Even in some cases, if you have a decent quality hair, if the client is not coming back to their appointments like they should, if you have HD lace, that lace can shed a little bit more faster as opposed to getting the regular transparent lace or some of the thicker laces. So just make sure of that, because that's a thing. A lot of these companies, they are confusing the public and making them think that, oh, just because this is an HD lace, that this is a good hair, this is a good wig, when it is a good lie, baby. You're going to be buying you another wig in 2 to 3 months. Okay. So that is why those types of hairs, and we already told you where they purchase getting these cheap hairs from. So that is why those hairs cost that least amount of money. And there are cons that come along with that as well. All right. So, child, let's get back on topic as for with the weed doctor has set out. And okay, and then another thing also with the other more expensive wigs, and people be, because it's people out there that are asking they actually trying to come to the hair salon and figure out, but what is the difference from this wig and the one that I buy online? That don't look like it costs that much money. And we already talked about that. Just because the lace or the style is not, that does not predicate a necessarily a high quality unit. Okay. So it has to do with the durability, the functionality of the hair, the less shedding, the not much matting, the thickness, the fullness, the comfort of the units, all of those types of things. So do not just look into the lace. Okay. Now for the units that are more expensive, more of our medical units, or at least the ones that get into our Lux, that's the next stage. It's the Lux hair units. where they're starting off at least $1,000 and up. Okay, that is using our raw hair. These hairs can be sourced all over the world, and again, that hair is the least processed. So that's a lot of time what is causing the price, excuse me, to go up with the hair units, the fullness, the density, the capabilities of being able to dye the hair. If you're looking, some of these cheap hairs, when you buy those little shabby wigs or whatever you get the wig from, it has all of these different short hair pieces all throughout the unit. Okay. Baby, they are child, they just giving you a boneless treat up on your head. Okay. And so that's not the case when you purchase the raw hair. The hair is going to be thick from root to tip. Okay. You're going to be able to, it's going to be able to move a little bit better, And another thing with some of those dome cap wigs and some of the Lux units, the tracks or the wefts that are used on the units are fuller, so you are getting what you are paying for. It's lasting a lot longer. The shedding, especially if the client is doing what they're supposed to be doing, is very much minimalized. Okay. And so is the matting as long as they are following the instructions. Okay. All right. Now back to going glueless. So that's just like a basic, talking about the different units. And then again, the step up from that, that will be the medical grade cranial prosthesis. And the cranial prosthesis also can be used in the Lux line and through various wigs that are more customized to the individual. But the ones that are fitting like a glove and can possibly be worn completely glueless and getting the most firm hold, that is with our medical line, and it has a lot of different type of extra things on added on to that, especially if you are dealing with alopecia, because with those different type of medical pieces, they have different linings in there. It prevents the slippage. Actually, and some of these people, child, they got the caps that are sucked. It's like a suction like type of thing. It has different type of flexible metals on the side, so it's very sturdy on your scalp and on your head. Okay, and it's different wig providers that the Weave Doctor uses for these different instances. We also have some of the ones that are not necessarily medical grade that can offer similar results, but those units do cost a little bit more money. So those going to start about the $700 to $800 range. But look what you're getting. Okay, you're getting the possibility to go completely glueless if you maybe wanted to, and you're getting the option to have a long-lasting unit that lasts a lot longer than the wigs that you are purchasing online. Okay, all right. So finding the correct. Now that's the next thing for there, since there's so many people trying to go glueless. Finding the correct wig grip for your unit. Now you have to do this in conjunction with getting a custom fitted hair system or a hair wig, okay? And that's possibly going to be done with the dome cap, because we've already stated that if you just get the traditional, just like the ones that are sold online, or like of our stock versions that are not going to be dome, so no elastic fitting dome cap, then those are going to have more lumps and bumps all throughout the head, because guess what? It is not made for your head. It is made for, your particular scalp and head. It is made for the masses. It is like a stock drop version. So pretty much one size fits all type of wig. And so if you are having alopecia, and if you possibly want your unit to lie more flat, then baby, you're gonna have to, what's that song by Beyonce? Baby, let me upgrade you. Okay. Baby, you're gonna have to upgrade to the dome caps and possibly to the other cap systems that have more structure, that are within that same category. And if you really want to go all out and get the kosher, some of our kosher Jewish Shito units and cranial prosthesis, then those require a longer wait, but those are like the max benefits of getting a custom unit. And also depending on your medical provider, you may be eligible, for getting reimbursed your insurance with those cranial prostheses, with those different type of wigs, and different type of hair loss systems. All right. All right. And then I don't know if I think you talked about that already. It takes time to get the best fit. Okay. So you can get the dome cap if you don't want to wait as long, because some people do that. But however, don't be rushing the weed doctor, get mad at the weed doctor, because we had some people do that too. I think every once or twice a year, every 2 years, we get someone who purchased the dome cap, and they don't want. And some of y'all being bad too. Y'all need to use these glueless wig grips if you're going to do this, and if you have alopecia. You, in most cases, unless you're able to braid your hair down and use bobby pins, you need to keep finding the correct dome, the different cap that goes underneath. Do you have like those wig grip caps? They have them all over the internet. Find you a good high quality one. A lot of times I give them away as well with some of these services, but you have to find one that works in conjunction with your unit. And sometimes it takes a slight refitting of the unit that you have to get it to fit appropriately. Okay. Now we've even done these with some of those different adjustable ones that are on the more affordable, the ones that have just a regular little, I call it like the little clamps in the back. That those are pretty much spacey wigs and don't necessarily have a lot of structure to it. Those are pretty much the units that are more affordable, want to be pretty much under $300 or $400 in most cases. Those are not custom wigs. Okay, so child, if you get that unit, what you see is what you get. If you got alopecia, it's gonna be what it's gonna be. It's not gonna be lying flat and flush. And another option too, for those who may not want to who want the flat and flush, but they may not want to take 12 to 16 weeks, or they may not want to be spending no $1,800 to $2,700, then I would suggest you getting a full hair system, even a topper, if that's something that you want to get done, because that one is full scalp and lace. Okay. And those lie very natural and nice and smooth on the hairline. Those to me can really, really do justice if you're trying to fool somebody. Baby, you talking about fooling somebody. Okay. Now, and that's something else we wanted to address. Now, when you're buying some of these medical cranial prostheses that want to take a long time, those do not in all cases have the same versatility and baby hairs, the baby hairs things that a lot of African American women like, and I'm talking about, I mean, you could get some baby hairs with the cranial prosthesis, like especially the ones that are very fitted, but those are the medical units. But the way that some of those units are made, they're not necessarily made for all that plucking and tucking, all that harshness and bleach stuff to the hairline. It just really depends on how you want your baby hair to look. Like there are some people, and I do it for my clients. I call them, I guess those are more like a more exotic baby hair, where we're applying a lot of heavy gels. You may or may not want to do all that with that type of hair system. If you still like that look, I would probably suggest you doing the Luxe hair systems with the, with our $1,000 and up, $1,300 units, $1,500 units. You may not want to do all that with those high grade units. So, if you want that, or possibly if that is out of your price range, then you might want to even consider looking into some of the more affordable dome cot units that may be around $700. And if you want to go and get the most affordable, you can too. But just know that the lace and the hairs ventilated on those are not going to be to get that type of look with those exaggerated baby hairs, everything just flowing and laying, baby. You got to spend at least $700 or maybe $675, and that includes the install. Okay. So we're just trying to educate you guys, because sometimes we have people, child, they trying to be over here looking like, I'm trying to think of a rapper that does all of that. Child, I don't even know if Lotto does that. Cardi B. Okay, she's somebody. Now, I can tell now some of those looks she does. I know Toni Braxton. Now, she is somebody, She has some excellent hair pieces, and those are definitely cranial prosthesis. The scalp, it looks like a real human, and not with all those swoops and loops and curls, malurls, gel, laid, fried, and dyed to the side. Okay, that's not going to be the same unit as probably a Nicki Minaj or a Cardi B is going to be wearing. So just make sure. That's why it's important to talk to your wig supplier or to your hairstylist or your hair loss specialist about what you're looking for in a unit. And typically, our clients that buy those very expensive ones, they're not looking for all that. Okay. But the weed doctor just wanted to let you guys know that if you're trying to get that, scalp, them tight ponytails, looking like some of those Instagram looks, they're using, like the $600 to $700 on the cheap end units and up. If they're getting like the Cambodian hair, then they can spend that too on there. So they could be going up to $1,200, $1,500 for those different looks. So generally, if you want that scalp to be scalping, baby, that's what you're gonna have to do. Okay. So the medical wigs, those are not for people who probably want to have those really excess over the top looks with all that gel. And that's another thing. When you apply gel, and especially if you're doing the things that the weed doctor told you not to do, which is, trying to put all those sprays and gunks in your hair at the roots, wetting your hair in the shower without putting on a shower cap, getting the roots damp. That's how you're going to get matted and just a hot mess. Okay. So these are just things to look into. That's why you got to make sure you keep coming back to the different hair salon when it's time. All right. So just to wrap that up, I hope you guys understand if you want the most snug, almost like a glove fit, it's best to do the medical hair system or to get a medical hair piece. You can do the other system or a full lace like we talked about as well. But again, those may not be able to go completely glueless. So that's just something that you guys have to consider when you're doing this. If you don't do that, then baby, it could be a chance that you could have some gaps in the hair piece. It may not be laying flush. You're gonna be looking lumpy and bumpy. You're gonna be looking lumpy and bumpy. So those are just some things that you want to look into. And if they put that strap in the back of the head, and especially if they use it with some of the dome caps, depending on how your head is sitting up, and if you have no hair at all, you might deal with a little bit of gape in the back. So it just depends what's your pet peeve. Some people, they don't care about all that. While there's some people, they want it to fit like a glove on their head. Okay? And then another thing is that if you purchase a topper with clip-ins, that is another way of getting a glueless install. Some people resort to getting relaxers on the edges. Also, we've done this same method for those who have sister locks and things like that. So we weren't able to use glue. Sometimes it still is good to use tape, and that's another thing. If you purchase the more affordable wigs, like we talk about, because we know some of y'all gonna do it, then you're gonna have to use the gel and the mousse and all of that good stuff to get those edges laid right every day. Okay, especially if that bad boy is not snug by itself. Okay, so that's something you're gonna have to work on. You're gonna have to be doing those edges and things like that. To me, that takes a lot of more maintenance as opposed you getting a medical wig that's already pretty much a basic style. Excuse me, where you're getting it sent off and getting more custom fit, or as opposed to you getting it installed by an actual stylist, so that you do not have to keep fitting that bad boy in your head. That's another thing too. If you get that unit, baby, you got to be able to put that wig on. So that's going to may take some practice for some of you guys, especially if you're not used to doing all that. Now, the other thing we're going to talk about with the medical hair systems is that, especially for those who are trying to hit on with this new glueless trend and things like that, it may not come exactly in all the Afro kinky curly textures that you're looking for. That is why we create a lot of our own units, because we can customize it exactly to what the client wants. Okay. because some of these hair loss systems, sad to say, cater a lot to European textures, and those who are wavy have wavy to mild curly hair. So you may not be able to get, in some cases, depending on the situation. Now we have to do, each situation can vary. So if you want it extra, extra, extra kinky with the lace, say like for our lock units, we have a particular supplier that we use to get that Afro kinky curly texture. So we may or may not be able to get that with that same type of silicone support or that structure that might be needed for the alopecia unit. So that's something to look into, because we had a lady called the other day. She wanted to go completely glueless with her system. And I told her, even though we're using the lace and we can measure it as close as possible, it still may be a chance that you still may have to use some sewing down and some clips. It may not just be like just fit it on and that's it. Okay. So that's just some of the drawbacks of getting the medical hair loss systems, even though they do last longer in some cases. But for those who want to get the braided and more Afro textured styles, I would suggest that you look into our mid-grade options and sometimes our raw hair options, because that is how you get the more versatility that you possibly going to be looking for. All right. So that's the only thing with some of those units. Okay. All right. So I believe we addressed everything. I guess let me read this. In some cases, depending on your hair loss, a specific head, you may need to order from our alopecia hair systems line. All right. And so we already discussed that those cost generally about $1,800. And that we have other different types of things available for the lower cost, the dome caps. But those, you definitely going to have to put that wig grip on, and you may have to work on it to find the exact fitting for that. Because sometimes with the elastic, depending on how you want your unit to fit, okay? So some of these things is a growing and a learning experience. We cannot necessarily tell you exactly which one is going to be the best. We can tell you some of the pros and cons of each one and guide you, try to guide you in the right direction. However, sometimes it takes some time to find out which different type of wig or hair system base is going to work the best for you. So this is part of the learning and the growing process of purchasing these different type of hair pieces. It's not a one size fits all, and it really varies on the individual and what they feel like is going to be the best option for them. Now, I think we may start adding that into some of our, like our custom unit insurance programs, where, if a client wants to change the unit or the type of style of the unit, then there is an additional $375 or $400 so that they can be able to have more flexibility to, instead of buying a whole new unit, to be able to switch that one out and to swap it out for a different fit. Okay? So those are just some things to look into, because we've had it with different people. Sometimes they want to try different fits and things like that. However, again, as a business owner, we may not in all cases be able to just return it all the times and start all over, especially if we now are letting clients know that we don't mind alterations. But we've had some instances where people, they didn't listen to us, and then they try to do something different, and then they did not get the exact or the closest fit. So that's just something to make sure to consult with your stylist. And some things, it is a growing process, and that's another thing. We've had some clients do that too, that had one hairstyle and then they changed that hairstyle, shaved their hair off, and then was wondering why their unit fit differently. Okay, that's because it was made for the other hairstyle. Okay, so these are just some things that we got to look into. We just wanted to make sure to educate everyone about this new glueless thing that's going on, so that people, they can get a good understanding and education about purchasing these different hair systems, especially because this glueless method is getting so popular. So we want to just make sure that we can help people, so that you can get the best results. All right, you guys, we hope that you have a fabulous evening. We hope that we was able to help you. All right, make sure to follow the link tree to find out more about booking, scheduling a consultation, a custom wig fitting, so that we can find the perfect solution for your hair loss and hair replacement. All right, see you next time. Bye now.